press a button. At least I know. I feel like I did it. Oh, chat. Mm, mm, mm. And we're back. Hey, Raphael. Hey, Bobo. We are back. We are back. I couldn't let y'all just leave like that. I couldn't leave y'all like that. Hey, Lastasia. Hey, New Jones. Mhm. Nice. Oh, wow then. Oh, mm. Don't let y'all just leave like that. Well, listen, we got on that conference call, and it seemed like everybody had something to do. Everybody be like, listen, when you gonna be on here all day, they were like, we got well, not the Zoom meet, not the conference call. What's your update? What's your update? What's your update? Everybody got their updates in? All right, great, great meeting. We'll catch y'all next time. All right, deuces. It's holiday season that people don't want to be bothered. Hey, Angela Baldwin. So I don't even have that long now because I do got to go to work today, but I got about a good hour. About a good hour before I have to leave. And I said, let me get on. So we because we left off, we were having a pretty good discussion about these organizations and whether or not we should be allowing trans people in. And I was asked point blank, would I let them in? And I gave my answer. Remain teachable. Hey, because and like I said, one of the comments that I saw in the previous live really opened up a lot to me about this because it just confirmed, I shouldn't say reconfirmed, but it confirmed what I already knew in terms of people's approach to it, where you have a lot of people who seem to think and believe that gay and trans are the same thing. Quiet as it's kept, there are some gay people and trans people who think gay and trans are the same thing, and it's not. It's absolutely not. It would be like saying, oh, well, being black and being Hispanic must be the same thing because both of them are people of color. See how idiotic that sounds by me saying being black and being Hispanic or Latino are the same thing because both are people of color. And you're like, but we're not the same thing. So in the same vein, not exactly in the same vein, but um being gay and being trans is not the same thing at all. And like I said, a lot of people believe that. A lot of people believe that. Hey, so Jeff. So Lastasia thinks that they should. Now, Lastasia, are you in a fraternity or sorority, or are you in a Divine Nine, or are you in a fraternal organization like the Masonic Order or something like that? Because it's very easy to say, um, if you're not in those organizations and if you're not um vested in. Okay. If you don't mind sharing, which organization are you in? But when I was asked, oh, oh, okay. Um, oh, oh. Anyway, when I was asked about it, okay, you're a Delta, good. I and if there's someone who is a member of a fraternal order, or fraternity or sorority, or um, and you would like to come on and talk about it, um, send me an email and I'll send you the link and I'll let you come on. I don't want it to be an open discussion because if you're going to come on, I would like for you to be a part of either the Divine Nine or fraternal order, like the Masonic order or something like that, where you can really speak from the inside. Because I think it's important to speak from the inside and be able to talk about it. Hey, what is it? Like I said, my email is scrolling across the bottom. So if you do want to, or if a mod wants to post my email, you can. If you want to come on and give your commentary on it, let me know. But I'm not gonna have it be an open forum. Um, but and I will venture to tell you, I would very much venture to tell you that there are very big differences in how fraternities may look at this question and sororities may look at this question when you talk about men and women. It then also opens it up, or um no, I'm talking about right now, quintessential. If you want to right now, you can send me an email and I will forward you the link to if you email me right now, I will send you the link so that you can come on right now. But it brings to question what am I I'm still eating on my coconut dreams. I was eating some chips earlier, now I'm eating on my coconut dreams. But when we're talking about this trans subject and whether or not trans people should be allowed in these organizations, you know what it reminds me of? And when I've had these discussions with other members of the Divine Nine, I find that members of the sororities are much more open and much more engaging about it than and if you want to come on and use that and not show your face and stay, with the avatar thing, you can. Quintessential. That's no, I have no problem with that. But if I find that the members of sororities are much more open to it and much more engaging. But the point that I'm going to make was it reminds me of some years ago, maybe 10, maybe a little more than that. Um, oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for coming over, Remain Teacher. But we're going to talk cover two topics now. We were on earlier and I had to get off to have a work Zoom meetings, but we're talking our last two topics that we didn't get to finish, which is the Divine Nine, and then we'll talk about some Real Housewives of Potomac stuff. So, I remember, do y'all remember when those pictures surfaced on the internet of the gay AKAs, the Miyakas or whatever you all want to call them, but the men who were all men but were, in line with their pink and green, had their pinkies in the air, had their ivies out, and with that gay AKAs. And I remember the sororities had a whole fit about it. They were not here for it at all. They were like, "Oh no, how dare you?" And so I noticed that the sororities were so much so, "Oh no, you not. Oh no, I don't believe this." Da, da, da. They were so hard headstrong against that. Hey, L. Lewis, and they were so not here for that. but now when we're talking about this subject, which is not completely the same, but some people may say it's kind of the same. I see a lot of members of the sororities feeling the opposite. I'm just throwing it out there, just throwing it out there because I remember that it was a huge thing. It was big. It was like, oh my God, it was yeah. I actually knew one of the guys that was in that picture in one of the pictures. I knew one of them. I mean, we were close like that, but I had met him before. Listen, I told y'all how I feel. My stance is this. In terms as for me and how I would vote, now I can't speak for the fraternity. I can't speak for all divine. I can only speak for myself as an individual. If I'm in the room and we're voting as a member, and I am a member of Divine Nine, and I'm voting for, I'm also a member of the Masonic Order. If I'm voting and it comes out that one of the candidates or applicants is a trans person, I'm voting no. I'm voting no. Absolutely not. I'm voting no. If it should come up for because we do bylaws, constitutional amendments or additions to our constitution all of the time in bylaws. If it came to it and they wanted to add a clause or add an amendment to the bylaws or a section to the bylaws that stated that had a section about trans people and that constitutional amendment to our bylaws said if you are trans, you cannot be a member of the organization, I will vote for it. If, for example, if it said, oh, hey, really be, if it said, oh, if you were born one sex and then you changed over the course of you being a part of the organization, and if you become that other sex, you are expurgated from the organization, I will vote for that. Or vice versa. Or if they said if you are, but then you that's when you get into the gray area about pre-op, post-op, whether or not you are legally the other um gender or whatnot. I don't know. Hey, Billy B, good morning, my love.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
I see you put that lip on, honey. Look at good baby. She said, girl, I'm gonna give you one more sickening lip, honey. Oh, okay. You said the email quintessential. Okay. Hold on. Or if there's another member of, like I said, if you're a divine now or you are a member of an order like the Masonic order of or any fraternal organization and you want to come on, shoot me an email. Okay. I got you, quintessential. About to send it to you now. Hold on. Anyway, what are your thoughts while I'm sending this email?
Me?
Yes.
Um, I missed the first part of what you were saying. So you're talking about. I know we're
We're
talking about
still talking about
transgender, and we're talking about like when they first go through the process, whichever whatever language you use for that, intake, pledge, initiation, whatever. So you're saying when they first go through the process, they are born a woman or a man, and then they later on they decide to transition, and they're now okay, and they're now presenting as the opposite of what they initially entered the organization as. Um, it may not be. Hey, everybody! It may not be the politically correct answer, but yeah, I personally would kind of, I would have a problem with that. That might not be the politically correct answer. If it were like I'm part of the masonry, but you can it's not, I don't know, because a fraternity is just that, sorority is just that. So I don't know, I would yeah, I would have an issue with it. That's just me. um and again, I'm sure that's probably not the politically correct answer, But that it is what it is. Like, it's a fraternity, and even though you are still legally, like, you're still legally, let's say you pledge a fraternity, and you're still legally a man. If that's no longer how you identify, that's no longer what you present as, and that's no longer how you live your life, then I mean, how you gonna be stepping at the conclave? I'm just saying. Is that wrong, y'all? Is that wrong for me to say that? I don't know. I'm not seeing the chat. So, I mean, I see the chat, but it's not moving. So, I don't know if y'all agreeing with me, not agreeing with me, cussing me out. I don't know what y'all saying. So, I don't know. Hold on. Let me look on my phone, because I don't know if the chat's just not moving.
All
Or
right, sorry about that, really be. Now what I was saying when I was putting up both fingers, I was saying that we were talking about both the people who came in the right way, whatever, and then transitioned, as well as people who were trying to come in as trans. And I had to even put my computer on mute because I was I had to answer that phone call. It was kind of work related. But I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said that I would have a problem with it if you came into my organization as one sex and then you transition to another sex. I said I would have a problem with it. I said, now I know that might not be the politically correct answer, but I just feel like, you go through the process. If you're pledged, let's just use a fraternity. Let's use
Okay.
I'll say Omega Psi Phi, because I know you may not want me to say Kappas, but if you pledge Omega Psi Phi, you are a man. And then 20 years later, 10 years later, 5 years later, hell, 2 years later, whatever, you
Let me
decide
know if you're ready in the background, Quintessential.
you decide that you are transitioning to a woman.
For
And
the
even
thumbs
though
up.
you may still legally be a man, and you may still have the parts of a man, if what you present to your day-to-day life, if you've changed your name, you go out in public, you present as a woman, you live as a woman, then you're a woman, and I'm going to respect that. And I don't think that we like the technicality of, oh, well, he still has man parts. Like, how you showing up to, you know, regionals, what you going, I mean, that's just me though. And I know that might not be the politically correct answer. That may not be the right answer. Maybe I'm barbaric, but that's how I feel. I mean, is that wrong?
No, you're not. I mean, I can't tell you you're wrong in how you feel.
You tell me I'm wrong all the time. Oh, don't stop now. Why be a part of a group or organization that doesn't want you? It's 2020. There are groups and organizations for everyone. I mean, I can understand that when you first decided to pledge, you didn't know. Like, you knew you were gay, and maybe you knew you felt differently, but maybe you didn't know you were going to live your life. I mean, people transition at different stages. I mean, I know a lot of times we see the example of people who do it at a young age. Hey, Quintessential Boo.
Hey, how you doing?
People transition at all stages. I mean, people get to look
Really
at
be, make sure you look at the private chat.
Huh?
Look at the private chat.
Okay. Look at Quintessential. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not Quintessential, Lord Jesus. Look at Caitlyn Jenner. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I?
You ain't do nothing yet. I'm just saying. Did you see? You didn't do anything. I was just telling you to read the private chat.
Oh,
Just
I
so
won't.
you know.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Wait, no. I got you. I got you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I looked at the last message instead of the first one. No, that's no problem. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's always you want to be a part of an organization that doesn't want you. I think when you pledged, you may have known you were gay or whatever, but you may not have been at that level of awareness that you were like, hey, not only am I a gay man or a gay woman, I feel like I'm in the wrong body and I need to make that transition. So I don't think it's always that point where you know what I'm saying, where you know you're at that point. And then later on in life you make that decision. So, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
What was the question now? I forget the first part. We talking about someone.
Because, well, really be, you are focusing on the person that comes in as a certain sex and
Well, I'm only
transition.
focusing on what you on because I came in late to the conversation. So
Okay,
that's
that's fine. I was trying to catch quintessential up. I'm sorry.
oh my bad.
Um, because really B was talking about the person who comes in, traditional way, everything cool, while
Mhm.
they're in at a certain point, they decide that they're going to transition. Now, the way that the topic originally came up when I presented it earlier was the opposite way. We talked about both though, where somebody who was transition, a trans person, trans man or trans woman, respectively,
Mhm.
and they decided they weren't in anything and they wanted to join
Oh, okay.
an
Mhm.
organization,
Mhm.
whether or not organizations should allow them in.
So if they're interested in joining and they are saying they are a trans woman, for example,
Mhm.
would I be okay with them coming around to whatever events and saying, I'm a trans woman, here, this is my name, and this and that? Well, okay, that's the question? One of the questions?
Well, yeah, that's a part of it.
That's
Yeah.
part of it. Okay. Again, my personal response to that, personally speaking, it would be a no for me. That's a no. Um, uh, if not that I have anything against it, I just would no. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Me personally would be a no for me on that front. Now, if they came in and they are already, I don't know, I have no idea, and they came in and they went through whatever they, the process of whatever, and later on they decide they want to become a trans man, I guess, if they, that's what it is, they want to become a trans man. At that point, to me, they're no longer identifying as being a member of the organization anymore, because we don't have, you can't be a man if you came in as I'm gonna say Barbie Love, and you were a woman, you came through, you did all that, blah blah blah. 10 years later, you want to become Ted Love. Okay, well, that's right. Become Ted Love. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Become Ted Love. Ted Love did not become a member of the organization. Ted Love was not part of that process. Ted Love is not a member of this organization. Now, yes, Ted Love is aware of a lot of the various things in the org, but Ted Love is not recognized as a member, and Ted Love would not receive recognition, as far as I can tell, as a
You know
member.
what? You bring up a very important part that I just forgot about. Because if you are going through the entire process of making that transition, becoming legally someone else, that I can't say all of the time, but most times does involve a name change.
Yeah.
And so that would change the constructs of saying, well, no, this person joined our organization, not
Mhm.
this person over here.
Your certificate
So I
is not
understand
going
that.
to say Ted Love. Your certificate said Barbie Love or whatever it was when you joined. Now, Ted
Mhm.
Love is someone else that you have chosen to identify with, and that is beyond, that has something to do with the organization. That's on whatever you're doing, that's on you. Now, I think the harder question, where I was looking at that Instagram video, is those individuals. I'm glad these were not issues I had to deal with. But anyway, those individuals that, and I'm not against trans. I really am not. But if you do become, let's say you were a Janet Mock type situation. I didn't
Mhm.
know Janet Mock was a trans woman when I first saw
I
Janet
didn't
Mock.
either. I
Not,
did not either.
I couldn't tell. And
Students
Janet
taught me
Mock could
that.
have came through all the events and did all the whatever. It'd have been all right with me. I would not have, because I
Mhm.
wouldn't have known no better. Because I'm like, Janet Mock is Janet Mock. And then later on, I find out that Janet Mock is a trans woman. I'm not going to treat Janet Mock any differently, because I'm going to still, in that particular instance, it is what it is. I'm going to be still respectful and cordial. I'm not going to act a fool and, be less than, I'm not going to do anything that, I'm like, it is what it is in that situation, because I didn't know. And I guarantee you, most folks didn't have an idea. Then it is what it is. But if you know, and I can tell you this, now I know I'm a little old here. If you know, and you're on campus or you're going through a grad chapter, and that, you know, that person's identified as a trans woman, it's going to be some problems and some conversations.
Mm-hmm. It's
It
certainly
really
going to
is.
be some problems and
It's
some
going to be some
conversation.
problems and some.
Remember, in Quintessential, I don't know what area you're in, but I know Really B is in DC. And I remember a couple years ago when that whole situation with Phi Beta Sigma happened, that rocked Divine Nine. Like everybody took a step back and said, "Oh, we really need to look at addressing, make it, you know what I'm saying, how we're going to deal with that." Because that was a situation where somebody went through the whole shebang and nobody knew. So like I said, I don't know what area you're in, whether or not you were close to the DC area or whatnot, but I remember even down in Florida at that time, it was a huge thing. Like it shot up like wildfire. So
But
I
that's the
know.
point. That's
Go
the point
ahead.
when I was calling. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're fine.
No, that's the point I was saying earlier. One of my coworkers now, he's part of a white fraternity, but that's what happened to them. They had somebody that went through the process as a man, and they did not find out until after process was complete that this person was a woman. You know, and so then it became what, and actually they really didn't find out for a while, but once they found out, then the question was, well, what do we do about it now? And I mean, you know, it was it was a whole issue. Like, he's a national officer, and they had, like, all summer long, this is what they were dealing with all last year, all summer, you know what I mean? This was, and it really bothered them, you know, and it was like, well, what are you going to do about it? And they're actually, like I was telling El Teddy, they're actually in the process, or were in the process, I don't know where they are in it now, of changing their actual bylaws to be very specific about gender, and to be very specific about what you were born as versus what you present as, so that they don't find themselves in this position again.
Well, here's something to remember, and membership is not guaranteed across the board. I don't care which organization it is, of the Divine Nine, none of that. You are not, you can meet, whoever it is can meet all of the minimum requirements, or you can even exceed those requirements and
still not make it.
Still not, and that's for all 9 organizations. You still might not get selected. And it could, and the reasons are not given to individuals specifically about, well, you didn't make it, and here's a checklist of things that you did wrong or you didn't meet or whatever it is. It's just not a guarantee that you're just going to get in. That's just very, it should still be made clear. I don't know if that's still made clear, you know, with all these, you know, different changes with different things.
I know certain organizations, like, and I'm not revealing any Masonic secret saying this, but I know if you go to UGLE, which we call United Grand Lodge of England, which is basically the mother of all things Freemasonry, they have specific rules there that says you are not even allowed to ask someone about sexual orientation or preference or things like that. And if I remember correctly, because I did a course on this, I believe, well, there's other ways, mechanisms that they have for proof of sex and stuff like that. But but in terms of orientation, you're not allowed to go down that road and ask people that question. But the reason I brought that up is this. In a lot of cases, what we're talking about is people who did not disclose situations up front.
Right.
And that is where you get to a gray area, because you have a lot of people in the trans community saying we don't are not willing to disclose certain things about ourselves up front because it opens it up ourselves. It opens them up to prejudices and sometimes even violence and, you know, everything that goes on along with that. Whereas on the other side of the argument, people are saying, well, you need to give me the opportunity to know everything that I'm, you know, dealing with up front. And that's where you fall into that gray area, because I think that that's something, if you are coming and be a part of my organization and I'm voting, I need to know as much as I can about this individual, because like I said earlier, this is like a marriage almost, where this person is not, even if they don't pay dues or be financial anymore, even if we kick them out, for all intents and purposes, they have all of the secrets of the organization, even
Well,
if
being
you
expelled
out.
from an organization, generally from up until I guess recently, being expelled from an organization was a totally separate thing, and it generally falls under some things that you went against already written
Mhm.
information, rules, bylaws, etc., etc. So a
Like
person who goes
hazing
against,
and stuff.
yeah, a person who goes against that, and they have, and each organization have their own process of how they would determine if that person should continue to have, be a member of the organization or should be expelled, whatever the or suspended, whatever the case may be. Um, I just don't. At this point, I don't know how that gray area is being addressed. Like you find out after the fact. Like I said, I personally wouldn't treat them disrespectfully. I wouldn't do anything like that. But as far as you later on finding out that that person who's now you've been calling your soror was I don't know. I don't know how that would be handled. I don't know. Um, I don't know about that. I don't know what to. I really just don't know what to say about that.
I
There
mean, I
is
know
now.
a lot of the male organizations I've gone through before you came in, a part of the application process was a physical. That was a part of, I think, almost every organization I've come into. I had to have a physical. Some of them had their own documents for that physical. Some of them you could bring the doctor's, you know, physical paperwork so that and part of it was, hazing clauses and all of that stuff.
But
So
you
that
would
they
not allow
right, because none of our
you're not
organizations
allowing this stuff to
allowed
happen to you. Blah blah
none
blah.
of our organizations allow any type of physical hazing at all, but
Yeah.
they needed to know that you didn't have these physical ailments coming up, into the organization. Go ahead, really be.
I was gonna say I know also organizations that I'm a member of. You have to provide a police record, so that
Mhm.
also could be a way that you would know gender, because now you have to, and that's something that's pretty new, that you have to get your police get a copy of your police record because they want to make sure who they know they. So that again, if my police record is Sally Sue, but I'm trying to pledge Omega Psi Phi, that's not gonna work.
Mhm. Well, they do
Well, the
background
selection
check.
process for all these well, I say for when it was Elite Eight or now Divine Nine, the selection process has changed. The way
A lot, a
since
lot,
the early 1900s to today, a whole lot has changed as far
right?
as what it takes to become a member and all this and that. Everything has changed, even from going from you were in an above ground pledge process. That
Right.
process is changing to get to the
Yeah,
point where it's MIP and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Everything has had a lot of changes because you do have to change with the times. You can't, what they did back in 1960, I know I couldn't do that, but I'm just saying. But
Right.
that wouldn't be me. I know I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying. So a lot of stuff had to change because of the times. And even with now, with the COVID, the pandemic, and all of that, now you got to do things a little bit differently. And I'm sure every
Not
organization,
everybody's having virtual
yes, a lot of stuff
initiations
that
and stuff
that
like
that
that.
was not in anybody's bylaws. I can guarantee you that. And I'm not a member of all 9 organizations, but I can guarantee you that. Well, we're going to do something virtual. That was not part of it.
That
I
was
can
not a
guarantee
part of
it
the
was not.
bylaw.
So now you got to go back, and we have to go through. Okay, so how do you handle? Universities now. Everybody's not on campus right now. How do you handle these new memberships and all that kind of good stuff? So everything has to be changed over time. So your selection process, whatever paperwork you got to show, et cetera, whatever it is, has changed, is changing, and I guarantee you,
We'll change some more.
it's gonna change a little bit more, and you're gonna be sitting in some more meetings, going like, "Well,
Mhm.
here's the new this and that," and you got to go
Mhm.
through a whole new training about whatever that new stuff is. So, um,
And
you
I'm
know,
sure that as we move forward into it, these issues are going to arise because
mhm.
a lot of times these things come down to lawsuits and
Oh yeah,
legal issues. And at some point somebody's going to feel slighted and say, because remember, I talked about this earlier. Remember when those girls sued the Boy Scouts of America because they said that they needed to be able to join the Boy Scouts of America?
Mhm,
And everybody looked like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying?
Remember the two young ladies I think they went to Howard University and they wanted to become a member of AKA, and they sued the organization, or they tried to do a lawsuit because they were not selected for whatever the reasons were. I don't know why, it doesn't really matter. And I go back to saying membership is still not guaranteed. I don't care which organization you are interested in. You can have interest in whatever, but it doesn't mean that at the end of the day that you're going to become that you're going to be moving forward in the whatever the process is.
It's so funny because I've been a part of every intake for every organization that I'm a part of at some point. And I will tell an applicant or a candidate point blank, I look them bold face in the eye and say, listen, I could not vote for you because I don't like the way you spell your name. And that is my right as a member. And they get so upset with me. How dare you say? Some people say, how can you say that to people? I said, that may not be true, but that is the honest to God truth. Nobody has to explain how or why they vote a certain way. If I vote no, I'm voting no for whatever reason. Be it because you trans, be it because you spell your name the wrong way, be it because you rolled your eyes at me and didn't know I was a part of the organization that one time we was at a party or stuff like that. And so it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I do think organizations, all of them, are going to get to the point where they're going to have to address how they're going to deal with it. It's going to come to a head. I don't know. I'm trying to think if any of my organizations have put anything in writing in terms of. I don't think that they have. I think many of them are shying away from it because of the times that we're in, more of a political, PC nature, as well as we're not in the same era of the Black community where people value Greek letter organizations as much as they used to, or Masonic organizations as much as they're used to. So there is even though you still have a lot of people joining, there is it's not as popular as it used to be among young people and things like that. So they're trying to do everything they can to, keep people coming in and keep the doors open as well.
Well, those individuals on the Instagram that was talking, I was just, I said earlier in your chat, I was like, they have to be careful because you cannot, unless you are in that position, speak on behalf of whatever the organization is.
Right.
You can't. I'm not in a position to speak on. That's not for me to do. So there is protocol. I don't, that you have to adhere to, because you can get called to the carpet if you caught out there talking on behalf of the organization. That's why that show that was on the VH1 didn't, had some issues.
That's
So
right.
you got folks on there representing and got their letters on representing, or so now you're saying I'm representing this organization and I'm going to do this. You have to be careful when it comes to even subjects like this. Yes, there are conversations being had. I don't know what the higher ups are come up with, whatever. I'm not in that at that level, but I will say this: I'm not one to speak on behalf of the organization, and whatever comes out and whoever is in charge to say, if they're going to whatever, is going to be for them to say it. It is what it is. So I wouldn't be on Instagram having these reckless
conversations.
I'm not doing all that. Then you got that guy on there talking about some.
Hey, this is how you know when people pledge right. One thing I respected about K Michelle told him point blank, you ain't never gonna see nothing about my sorority on nobody's love of hip hop because I pledged right, and I pledged the right way, and I know you keep that separate. That is real serious.
It's called discretion. You don't do that. Right. You don't do that. There's certain things when you are wearing your letters. There are certain things that you need to be doing to represent your organization in the best way positive. You don't get out there and be on World Star and all that in your letters and all that kind of craziness. You don't get on Instagram and post conversations like that and represent some organization. You don't do all that unless you are at the top.
It's always the sorority or the women, I should say, y'all have way more stricter rules about what
Mhm.
cannot be done with
Mhm.
the letters and
Yeah,
different things
yeah,
like that, and
yeah,
down to how it can be worn. And
yeah. Very
y'all be
strict.
like, we have rules on the male side, but I know on the female side,
Mhm.
listen,
Yeah.
we don't play them games.
We don't play that. Don't get out there. Now I don't know. Like I said, you know, you should. Well, you should know your limitations on what you're doing when you decide on wearing your letters in public. You should know. But if you don't know, trust and believe somebody gonna let you
Somebody gonna check
know
you. Somebody
what
gonna let
that
you know.
is.
Listen, somebody gonna say,
Mm-mm,
bruh, what you doing? What are you doing, bruh?
mm-mm,
Yeah.
What you
mm-mm.
doing?
I know in my organization, old school will tap you on your shoulder quick as hell.
Listen, old school don't play around. They'll come tell you real fast. Hey, let me talk to you. They do not play around.
Mm-mm,
Oh
mm-mm.
man.
I told you. Well, I'll say that backstage.
Oh, okay. So I know me personally, if it's if just me personally, individually, I'm not at the moment, and maybe I'll change. We grow, we learn, and we get better and we evolve. But I am not personally at the point where I'm going to say, oh yeah, open it up to trans people within the various organizations. I'm not there. And I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or in between for the organizations to do that. That is for them to decide. But for me, I'm just not there yet. And there's a lot more conversation. And I'm not saying I won't ever be there, but there's a lot more conversations that need to be had and a lot more things that need to be worked out.
Oh,
Um,
it's a lot of I don't know. Look, I can be 80 years old and I'll probably be like, I really don't care what y'all doing. Don't ask me. I mean, I don't care. It don't matter
that's
anymore.
above my
I'm like,
pay
I'm
grade.
80. Child, y'all go ahead. I mean, when, you got, like I said, nowadays, like, things have changed now and you got people doing movie productions of the new members out there. I'm like, look at this. They got movies and well-produced videos of their new members, and they all dressed up and looking good, and they got the music going, and they doing. I'm like, well, ain't that something? And meanwhile, I look pitiful. So it is what it is. But
Hey, they come offline and be looking like they walking the runway where I played, I was looking broke down, busted, and disgusted. Listen, probate came and we was doing everything we can to cover up. Let me shut up. And to
you
try to
look too
look
much.
decent
That ain't
for
it. Don't do that. Don't talk about that. I'm just,
we ain't
within
even
the
talking
last
about that.
like, I
Woo.
mean, I like it. I mean, it's pretty. I think I like it. I'm like, well, look at this. And that's some new stuff because you have to change. You can't
Hey
be
Des.
on campus and you can't be there or if it's a graduate chapter, you can't be there to see anything. So if you got to put a documentary together or however whatever it is, and that's a different thing. I'm laughing at it, but because I didn't have any of that opportunity, but it is something that is what's becoming part of the new
Um,
normal.
I had so one of my organizations, we just had intake, and when it was done, nobody was allowed at the process because it was only invite only because of COVID and all of
Mhm.
those things. But what they did was they went to a park
Mhm.
and they had all of the new members line up like with social distancing errors, and the members of the organization literally drove by and waved and said hey. It was so funny, and just honked their horns and said hey or whatever. That was their way of being introduced to these new members because of restrictions of COVID. Now we later went on and had a Zoom meeting afterwards to talk, but people still wanted to have that interaction. So they would just like drive by at this the park was closed off. And we drove by, and what people did was we parked in a parking lot, and then everybody, you could as long as you were social distance, you could stand right next to your car, or you could stand in the moon roof, and we sang our songs and stuff like that, and did little, chants and all of that stuff. But
You make it
it's
work.
so funny to me. We made it work
Make it
for
work. And these are things
yeah.
that you have to do now because, for safety reasons and all of that. And these are things that were not, like I said, this was not a part of your process up front. This was not a part of what was written in your however selection book or whatever you call it.
Mhm.
This was not part of it. Zoom meetings and video productions, although video's probably been going on for quite some time, but I mean they're really elaborate now. Like you see it at the title, produced by Baby Love, and you're like, well, wait a minute.
Speaking of trans and transitioning, let me transition to this next topic. Oh dear God.
Okay.
Oh dear God. Mm. So we had a whole lot of fiasco
Mm-hmm.
this week with the Real Housewives of Potomac. Oh, dear
Not
God.
Potomac. Real Housewives of Potomac. Okay.
Now
We did.
here is where I'm going to talk about it on a different angle. Because everybody, when you talk about it, the show centers around the Real Housewives. But my angle when I approach what I'm going to say is for Chris Samuels,
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Bryant, Juan Dixon. I
Okay.
can give a shit about Michael Darby.
Okay.
Don't care about him.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say like this. When you are a husband, and really you touched on this a little bit earlier this week in one of your lives that you did, where you were saying in a lot of these reality shows with the housewives, the husbands do become collateral damage. And in addition to the husbands becoming collateral damage, what's going untalked about is the children also
Mm-hmm.
becoming collateral damage. And the reason that I wanted to mention the Chris Samuels of the world, the Juan Dixons of the world, and the Jamal Bryants of the world is this. If you are the head of your household, and I don't care if you ain't married no more, if you have procreated and now have children with whoever this woman is, you need to let them know up front from the beginning, baby, you got 2 seasons. Because if you notice, you get about to the second season, and when you get to about that second season, where that first season you was easing your way in, by the time that second season of that show coming in, you in all of the drama, all of the fuckery, you in all of it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them up front, hey boo, you got 2 years and we shutting it down. And if I'm Chris Samuels, as angry as Chris Samuels is with everybody, and as angry as Chris Samuels is all about, as much as money as Chris Samuels put into the lawsuit that they won against Candace, if I am Chris Samuels, I'm also paying my lawyers to get Monique Samuels out of whatever contract she has with Bravo. Because as you can see, this has become a detriment to your family. And y'all are not the type of people who you are just begging for money at this point, Chris Samuels, where you got to depend on the Bravo check to pay for the lion's share of what you have to do. And so with that, and even if that was the case, is it worth your family? Like, this is destroying families. And I think it's negligent for you as the husband, the father figure, the protector of that household to continue to allow this lady or these ladies or whoever you attach to that's on this show to continue to be on this show. Because yeah, we watch it on television, but when the camera goes off, you got social media that's going all out of control, every blog site in the world. Your kids can't even go to school without being, accosted and confronted. You got all this going on. Is it worth it? And you as a man and as that husband, I feel it's negligent for you to continue to allow that stuff to go on. So as much as we may fault these women and talk about they do all of their antics, women gonna do what they do. But I think that it's a poor representation of you if you continue just to allow this to go on and you not try to stop it at least. I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, I think that Chris Samuels was trying to. I think he was. I think he was calling himself trying to do what he could to protect his family, which is why that story, which is I think is the reason why that storyline about the trainer and all of that did not make itself to be a central part of the show in the first place. Now, me personally, I wouldn't want my children, if I had children, on a reality TV show
Right.
because it, you know, especially with Giselle's children being all teenagers, and given that their father's history is all out in the streets, and you know they know it's all out in the streets. Given that they're watching the season, given that they see the reunion, it's got to be. If I was 13 or 15 years old, I think that's the age, or whatever age their daughters are, I would be embarrassed that this is going on and my mom is being dragged to the streets, because I know teenagers are very harsh, and they're gonna tease me when I come to school or whatever the case may be, because we're out there in the forefront and we are being shown to be unhappy when we're around our father or talking about our father. So it's I would be I would definitely not choose to include my children on a reality TV show. You want to talk about me, talk about me, but you're not going to include my kids. You're not going to. We're not going to have their feelings brought into these adult situations, and that's what's been happening. Chris Samuel's kids are obviously are small, but again, why is there a storyline or a potential storyline to discuss the paternity of the last child? That's not. Why would you do that is horrible. But at this point, it now, but ditch has been dug, because now the floodgates are open. You got Jamal Bryant, and he came out there and he done said some things that
now he accusing Chris of confronting people, and
it's bad now.
Out of control. Listen, I will be putting all my energy into what legal means. I get the best lawyers I can. I need a contract, somebody that knows contract law. I need you to get me my wife out of this contract. She needs to get out of it.
But who's to say that she's coming back though? We don't know who's coming back next season.
But I like really, you probably can speak to this as well. I don't know if when they come on, Bravo says you have to sign up for X number of years, or whether it's a year-to-year annual contract.
From my understanding, it's a year-to-year contract. And it's also not set in stone. There's a clause in the contract that says basically, and I'm paraphrasing, so no legal scholars get me together, but from my understanding, there is a clause in the contract that says that they have until mid-season to make a final decision about whether you're going to be a full member or a friend of the show. And that's why sometimes we hear about people like, for example, LaToya on Real Housewives of Potomac. She started off as a full member. She had a peach, but midway through the season, because her husband refused to film
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah. Did I say
okay, because I was like Potomac.
No, I'm using that as an example, though. I'm saying she started off with a peach, but midway through the season, they bumped her down to friend of a show because her husband refused to film, and they were like, "Well, your storyline is your divorce. If we can't get no footage of you and your husband, then we can't do nothing with that." So it's a year-to-year contract. I don't disagree with you, El Teddy, that I think Monique at this point, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for her to make an exit. I don't disagree with you. Now, what Andy said was that he would like to see all of the ladies back. However, he said that about a month ago. I don't know if that was before they filmed the reunion or after they filmed the reunion, but I certainly know he said that prior to all of this stuff that has erupted over the last.
And I remember he said that prior to the pictures leaking of what they wore, because I remember he said that.
I gotta take this call. Hold on.
Okay. But that goes back to my point. Hey, LaGil. Hey, Miss Fake New York. We don't have a call in. I'm sorry. Jonathan, what's good for Jonathan? You missed a real good discussion we had on Divine Nine. Where were you? But I do think that I think the husbands, y'all need to be the man, be the head of that household, and let them know, hey, boo, if it's a year-to-year contract, you ain't going back over there. Nope, not worth it. You need to do like whose husband was on that? Who was on that first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta? Their husband said no. Lisa Wu. Wasn't it Lisa Wu? who's on the first season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and you never saw her kids because she had kids with Keith
Oh
Sweat,
yeah,
and
that
Keith
was
Sweat
Lisa Wu.
said, "No, absolutely not.
She was
You are
married to
not
Keith
gonna have my
Sweat,
kids
and Keith
on
Sweat didn't
there."
want his kids
Yeah,
on there.
Keith Sweat said, "You're not gonna have my kids on there. You're not gonna talk about my kids. You ain't gonna have no interaction with my kids in that show." And I think
Mm-hmm.
that is how that should go. But the difference is Keith Sweat was not with Lisa Wu at that time. They
Right.
were not together.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Chris Samuels, you are married to, um because look at all of this other stuff that's coming out there now. You got Gigi out here talking about all of this nonsense about, oh, we was trying to get him a long time, him and some other people. We wanted to, lock them down, and the whole, groupie mentality and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A whole fiasco. And now the shit has started rolling down the hill and it's just collecting. And I
Well,
think that, go ahead.
it comes down to now, if in fact the network, not the production company, if the network say we would like that same cast to return, the production company will more than likely be okay, because you remember the production company, they they're not the last say so. It's what the network would like to see moving forward. And I can see the network saying, "Ooh, with all the ratings and the talk and the social media, this is a cash cow for them."
Mhm.
It doesn't matter to them necessarily that we're talking about destroying people's families. We're talking about the fallout that's happening. Personally, if I were Monique in particular, I wouldn't want to return. After you done did all your, with the binder and say what you got to say for these 3 parts, I would move on, because coming back for another season, first of all, who is really going to try to be there? As far as they might have to mandate them to film together, which that would be the case at some point. But she's fighting an uphill battle that's not really, I don't think is worth it. But again, I'm
Hey
not
Cam,
Monique.
I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you.
So
And also Miss Fake New York. I'm not. It's not an open panel today. We're not having everybody on here today. It's not open. um, I just think that the money, right? Because Monique has kids that are still young. I'm not
mhm,
sure how old the oldest one is, but she still got a baby or a
mhm.
toddler. And you can bail out now and let those, and get enough far removed from this where you can give your kids the best chance at some form of normalcy. Because let's be clear, the more you stay, the more stuff is going to start to come out, because
Oh
these
yeah.
are not the only skeletons that you have. And more so, and those poor kids who did not ask to be brought here, who did not ask to be a part of this reality show. um I mean, you feel how you feel, Miss Fake NY. I have mods to take care of people like that. I mean, if you got that much tea, spill it in the comments. If you got that much tea, child, we don't care. And I'm gonna keep my 38, 39 people. You were one of the 38. Anyway, tread lightly because you will get gathered. The mods, they don't play around. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, I just think that at this point, I don't. When I'm looking at all of these situations now, I don't look at the women. I look at the men.
Mm.
I start to look at the husbands sideways, and those are the ones who I start to look up and say, "Bruh, what you doing? What you doing, bruh? Your whole family life is all over the streets. You out here allowing this woman to run your household." One, not that, and I don't want to sound like I'm a chauvinist or sexist or anything like that, but just be clear. If we're talking about what are social norms, as we call them, as I'm trying to be as politically correct as
Mhm.
I can, women, and even just on a regular, women look for men to be protectors. They look for men to lead. They look for men to run their household. And in a lot of these cases, it doesn't seem that way, because you're just letting the inmates run the asylum. They're out here doing just all kinds of craziness.
I don't think that's the case with Monique and Chris, though. I think Chris runs that household, and I think he is the final say so when it comes to her being on that well, not the final say so, but as far as her continuing to film, I think he had a lot to do with it. Because believe you me, I think that if Chris didn't want her to film at all, based on, which I was surprised he did, based on what was going around with Miss Gigi, he could have told her, "You're not coming back, and we'll pay a lawyer to get you out that contract," back at that time before this previous season was filmed. So I don't think Monique is running it the way I think that you're implying or saying that. I think Chris has to say so.
I think and well, if Chris does have a say so, Chris need to tell her, "Hey boo, you won't be coming back." I just feel like, Monique, you have children who deserve the right to have some type of normalcy.
Mhm.
Giselle and Jamal Bryant, for all of these videos you making and all of this buffoonery you got, I know that's my frat brother and all, but for all of this nonsense you got going on Al Gore's good internet, your energy should have been placed on telling Giselle, take my children off this camera. Do not discuss. Now he came back now and said, "Well, I won't be filming with Bravo no more. It won't be discussed." But you should have already had that in place before. You should
Mhm.
have told Giselle from season one, "My kids will not be on this program because my kids deserve a right to have a normal, have some form of normalcy." It's not worth it. And as you can see, because there are things here in Atlanta saying that he might not make it to 2021 as the pastor of New Birth. Like, there are calls right now. There is a groundswell and a drumbeat of people saying it's too much going on. There's too much out there, and we need to right the ship. There's
Are you
a
talking about him doing that response to Monique's binder
well,
in
not
regards to
just the
that?
response, but the response coupled with all of the rumors, the allegations,
Oh,
and everything else going on. There's starting to be a drumbeat of people saying, "Jamal, we don't need you. Well, our church don't need to be associated with that." That coupled with the fact that they already have a checkered history with previous pastors of said church, and I blame the board of trustees of New Birth anyway, because Jamal came to New Birth with a story and with a history. So I don't even know how he made it through the deacon board or the board of trustees or whoever's in charge of the church down there. Hey, giving you the real tea. What's good, Terrence?
What's up, team? Hey, boo. Well, I'm sorry I missed what y'all said. I had to take that phone call. I apologize. But just to speak on that last point, I said this on my live yesterday that I feel like New Birth made a calculated decision. They sacrificed the reputation that they knew existed of Jamal Bryant for the potential. I'm gonna say, because he's not an A-list celebrity, but C-list celebrity for the potential next, TD Jakes. And I know he would never be on that level, but I'm saying I feel like that's what they did. He's politically connected, very well connected in the Democratic Party up here in Maryland, and I think that they thought they were going to. I think it was like, okay, he does have that past, but we can deal with that if he's going to bring, because they lost a lot of membership with the whole decision to, with the whole, Eddie Long thing. They lost a lot of membership and they were trying to fill them seats. And I think they thought, well, we can deal with the, he a hoe. He ain't the first pastor to be a hoe, but he gonna bring people to the seats. He's politically connected. He's even, in celebrity circles. He's put, and I think that's the decision that they made. I think when they were in that deacon room making a decision, I think it was the calculated decision that they made. Remember, he was on Love and Hip Hop, and it wasn't an issue. So I don't think they even thought that was an issue because, what's the big deal? Because he was doing positive things on Love and Hip Hop.
Right, he was doing positive
So I don't think they thought it was a big deal. And even with the whole Giselle thing, oh, well, that's his ex-wife. It wouldn't be a bad thing if he reconciled and they were able to move past their issues. And I think they even thought that might not have been a bad thing. The problem is the relationship was never real, and Giselle is on a reality show. You know what I'm saying?
I think
well, he didn't help the situation when he did that response. He did not.
I don't know who told him to do that.
That was crazy. Why would you do that?
Listen, he took a gas can and a lighter and just set everything ablaze with his gas cans. Because I was like, Why? Wait, if you just let Monique go on over there and do whatever her thing is with her trapper keeper, shouts out to Erica De Niro, with her trapper keeper, and do what she do. Let the women have all of their little arguments over there. Y'all can throw it. Do you have anything to say about you being with this other woman? I don't know what they're talking about. I'll be over here minding my own business, and I'll let them mind the business that pays them and keep it moving.
Because
Exactly.
you know that this isn't new. I was like I said in my live yesterday. This is new to people who don't follow a lot of the blogs and all of that. But giving you the real tea, and I meant to tell you, T, you need to repost that interview anyway. Put it at the top of your videos. But giving you the real tea did that interview months ago with this woman. She did another interview with another YouTuber who when she did that interview. Well, what I'm saying is it's not new information. So if you would
Yeah, because
just
that woman has, as we can see, she has talked to anybody moving
right, it's not new
about this
information.
situation.
So everybody knew about this woman and this alleged baby. So you
It
really,
wouldn't
I mean, it
it
really
would
was.
just really been just one of those moments, and then
Right,
we just keep it moving. And
right,
because allegedly the other parts of the um the reunion are much more explosive. But I would venture to tell you, this coupled with this whole Jamal Bryant video has probably made that part, even if there are more explosive parts, I don't know if they will have all of the groundswell of, oh my God, as everything that this has become. Because the other day after Jamal Bryant released that video, that was all my Twitter timeline and all my Instagram timeline was about. Everything was Jamal. I was like, I logged off of social
right.
media.
I don't
I
know
was like, I
who.
can't stomach it. I can't.
I don't know who told him to do that. That was the worst. The worst decision. I
And
don't
then
know.
he aired out folks' business, so to speak. That woman, I mean, why would you air out her business like that if that is true? All about her dissertation and it was grammatically incorrect, all that stuff that we didn't need to know about. Now you're going to imply that
But
Chris
that's
got
petty.
some sort of head trauma. I mean, we
Now
don't.
you're being petty. And again, you're addressing what we don't care about. None of us, when I say us, I'm saying in general, none of us cared about any of that. We didn't even really care if you were actually dating this woman. What Monique was, the text that Monique addressed was a text where you said the relationship was fake and it was only for reality TV. That's the issue. And you never addressed that.
And he
You
didn't need to say anything.
nobody cares about the rest of that. I don't care about this woman's dissertation.
He
My
didn't
thing
need
about
to
it
say
is,
anything. That just didn't help his situation, and
Right.
it really didn't help Giselle at all. I don't know if she called him
listen,
or not.
Giselle is trifling at best. I mean, Giselle makes me want to itch places that should not itch. Like my earlobes itch because I watch Giselle. But um, I just felt like, and like I said, men should stay out of the hen house. You know what I'm saying? Roosters don't live in the hen house. That's what my granddaddy used to say. You let them hens stay in the hen house, clucking and barking at each other and all of that good stuff, and you stay on out here. Because once you start to get involved that much, it never ends well. As you can see, and call it what you want, say I'm being chauvinist, say I'm being sexist. But for all that Monique said and all that Giselle had to say, when Jamal Bryant comes on screen and talks, he takes the headlines. If Chris Samuels comes on screen and talks, he's going to take the headlines. You understand what I'm saying? And that goes back to what I'm saying. You being the leader and the head of the household, you being the leader and the head of the house, you need to take the bull by the horns and say, we're putting a stop to this now. We're silencing everything. You get off social media. I don't need you responding to that. We making sure our kids, I see you really be, give me a second. We having our kids homeschooled and we'll have them a tutor because I don't need my kids out here being victim to all of the tirades of other adolescents and teens out here because of your buffoonery. I mean, what are we doing? And that's why I go back to Chris Samuels, Juan Dixon, even Eddie, Wendy's husband, and Jamal Bryant. Y'all are letting a reality show tear apart your family. Because I'm gonna tell you the next big thing. We talking about Giselle and Bryant. I mean Monique them family and Giselle and family, but we already know that there's an issue with Wendy and her family and Eddie's family, and we only got a little taste of that. And you know Bravo wants to get more into that. So Eddie, you really just gonna let it? You gotta take control and say, nope, getting out of Dodge before it gets too hot. Because if I'm Eddie, I'm looking at this situation going on from afar and said, when did we not doing that? I don't care how you feel, we're not doing this. We're getting out of Dodge. Go ahead, Rudy B. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was going to say was, in defense of Chris, and really, I would say in defense of most of the men, but I specifically say in defense of Chris. He even said that when they did that live a few months ago, Chris even said that in his live. He said, I don't get in their business. I know that they do what they do. I know they making the show. I know that they had their little spats or whatever. He said, but when you come from my family, now I have to address it. And again, like I said, I don't disagree with what you're saying about making a decision to no longer put your family through this and be on the show. But I will say there have been some exceptions to the rules, but generally speaking, the men generally just kind of let the women do their thing. And especially on Potomac, the men have generally stayed out of it, unless, like, when Juan was brought into it, even when Juan was brought into it, Juan didn't speak on it. Like, he really didn't. He really didn't. Chris has never really spoken on the issues outside of when they go to the reunion and he's asked the question, because he don't even really get into it. Even Candace's husband has only addressed issues that in the past, I'll say. Michael Darby has been a little more vocal, but Michael Darby, in defense of Michael Darby, he's been attacked more than any of these other husbands have as well, whether it's his own doing or not. But he has been attacked more, so he has addressed more. But for the most part, they really don't get in it. This situation, I was looking at Beautiful Soul earlier this week, and she was saying, like, this is something that has just never been seen. Like, if you follow Real Housewives, yes, we've seen Real Housewives get in legal trouble. Yes, we've seen, but for this groundswell of what has happened, I mean, we're potentially looking at Jamal Bryant losing his job. Now, again, he's not losing his job just because of this, but I do think this was the last straw. There have been other things that the church hasn't been happy about with Jamal Bryant, but this is the fact that it's been rumored that the deacons are meeting and potentially he could be losing his job behind, really, again, this being the last straw. Like, this is some wide-ranging stuff. And I honestly don't know, even though Bravo Andy says that he would love to see all the women come back, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they come back. I don't know how they do it.
How do you film with all of these ladies? You know what I'm saying? In the same, you're always going to be in a Karen situation where you got to figure out, okay, who I'm going to invite, who I'm not going to invite. Am I going to invite you early, invite you late, and hope y'all don't meet in the middle?
Well, Giselle don't see it for Karen at this point. She angry at Karen.
I don't see it for Karen. Hell, Karen probably don't see it for herself. She's not mad.
Well, I mean,
so you leave the grand dame alone. You leave the grand dame alone.
I can't stand her. She get on my nerves.
But what was interesting, those text messages, and T talked about it on his live this morning, and I had heard about it yesterday, but I didn't have all the details yesterday, and I actually said something incorrect. I got to clear up later.
So you mean you was on Terrence live and not on my live?
First of all, Terrence was live before you were live, sir.
Oh, yeah. He was live at the same time I was.
But he started before you started.
I don't know. I just told you. I don't know. I thought you said you was rolling out of bed when you first came on my live.
That's what I always say. I was still laying in bed when I was listening to you, sir. Sir. Anyway, moving on. But what I was saying was, they were talking about these text messages, and when Candace went live, when Monique did her live, however many months ago that was, and Candace did her response, because Candace is so simple sometimes and talks too much, she basically confirmed everything that Monique said, which thought she was defending herself. Because instead of saying the conversation never took place and we never plotted on Monique, what she said was, I told them the plan would never work because Monique's son looks just like Chris. And so Robin sent Candace text messages basically saying, well, thanks for throwing us under the bus. And Candace was like, well, I didn't throw y'all under the bus. I was just defending myself. And Robin was like, yeah, but you threw us under the bus because you basically
Candace is real simple in the head.
Right.
She ain't even smart enough to put that together and deduce all of that.
Right, but Robin was like, but you threw us under the bus because you made it seem like we had a whole conversation plotting on Monique. And that's another reason why I believe it happened, because Candace wasn't even smart enough to deny that it happened. She was so worried about defending herself, she wasn't smart enough to defend the fact that, yes, we actually had a conversation plotting on Monique's demise. But the second part was Robin tried to say, and Juan texted Chris to get him together. No, he didn't. That didn't happen. He might have texted Chris, but he probably texted Chris and say, "Yo, where we going to have drinks next time?" Because Juan don't care. Juan don't care.
I'm with Brianna on that. I do believe that there is something to that whole trainer thing. I don't know to what degree. I don't know what all went down. I ain't gonna say he got her knocked up, but I don't put it past Monique to have slobbed on his knob. I don't put it past Monique to put footprints on ceilings for him.
I would say this. I believe Gigi's version of the story, even though I think Gigi is a horrible friend and a clout chaser or whatever. But I do believe the story that Monique and her trainer was a little too close for comfort, and Gigi at the time was her really good friend, best friend, good friend, and we know how we talk to our friends. I do think that and that her and Chris were going through some problems at the time. Their marriage wasn't in a good place.
And even at the beginning of this season, Chris said at the beginning of this season on the show, they talked about them having problems, and Chris feeling like she wasn't having sex with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why I do believe Gigi's story. Now, I don't believe the story about the baby. I think that's taking it to a step too far.
I don't know.
But I do believe the story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I do believe the story.
But because Monique did, I saw the Instagram live with both Monique and I saw the one with Miss Candace. And Monique came back on the show and actually filmed and was friends with, or seemingly friends with Giselle and high-fiving and all that good stuff. And they got angry because, she saw Charisse at the little anniversary party, whatever that was. And instead of talking to Candace immediately and be like, girl, me and Charisse having problems, and this is the reason why, she never had a conversation with Candace. I think her running away from that issue, instead of just being like, look, this did not go down. Y'all trying to do some messed up stuff to me. She keeping it away from the show, and really she didn't even do the Instagram live. All she needed to say was like, ain't none of that true, and we're gonna keep moving forward. Because now it's coming with people looking at her like, oh, and why were you friends with Giselle? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why would you be friends with someone who's trying to destroy you?
I got the answer.
Go ahead. Okay.
No, here's the thing. It's the timeline. You got to know the timeline, because I had to figure it out too, because I said the same thing. You got to know the timeline. So they filmed this time last year. They were filming October, November, December, right? Mm-hmm. And filming Christmas, Thanksgiving, around that time. Andy's baby shower was in January, so they were done filming. So she had already had those conversations with Giselle. She had already filmed them scenes with her trying to be friends with Giselle. The baby shower where they were plotting to get Monique off the show was after they finished filming for the season. Monique didn't know about it. So when you look at the timeline, that's because I said the same thing. I was like, why would she do that? But when you look at the timeline, it was
this year.
But even if I'm going with what Quintessential was saying, and I said this in my review, I didn't understand, Monique, if you have all of this beef and all this to say, I got all these questions for Charisse and why Charisse doing this, that, and the third, and when Charisse came, you ain't have nothing. Girl, you ceremoniously got up and walked out and didn't want no parts of Charisse. And Charisse and Giselle, no, she didn't even want to discuss it because Giselle brought it up. If you remember in that episode, Giselle tried to have a conversation.
Yep.
Oh, well, let's talk about da-da-da-da-da.
She was being messy. Why would I have that conversation with Giselle? She was being messy.
Trifling as she always did. No, this was after Charisse came.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is Giselle was being messy. Why would I have a conversation with Giselle? She was being messy.
Because the problem is, up to that point of the season, everything Monique talked about, the whole Monique storyline was, I can't stand Monique. I don't like that she's spreading this rumor about me and this trainer, and I don't see it for her, and I don't think you should be inviting her. Remember she got mad at Candace for inviting her to the thing, but you had no problem with Ashley inviting her to her thing.
Wait a minute.
Because Ashley told her that because Ashley, they said this on the live, because Ashley told her that Sharice was coming.
But my problem is this. If Sharice, first of all, I don't owe you a damn thing. If it's my event and you know I'm friends with somebody, you should expect that they're gonna be there, whether or not I told you. And she knew Candace and Sharice was friends, and Sharice was gonna be there. And so I don't care if you did have smoke for her. Why am I inviting her? Because she's my friend. Just like
that was part of the problem, though. They'll tell you that was part of why Monique got mad, because Monique didn't know that Sharice and Candace were that close. Because if she said it, she was like, since when are y'all this close that you're inviting her to your anniversary party? She didn't know. That was part of the issue. She knew that Ashley and Sharice were friends. Ashley and Sharice have been friends since season 1, and they never had an issue. And so Monique did know that, but she didn't know. And that was part of her issue. She was like, wait a minute, you know all the stuff that Sharice did to me because you were my friend, and I told you. When did y'all get so close that now she's at this event and you didn't tell me she was coming?
Go ahead, Quintessential. I'll let you go.
The timeline is off, really, B. Andy's baby shower was last year. It wasn't this January 2020. It was 2019, and they
were filming. But that's what I'm saying. They were filming. So but a baby shower was in 20. Oh, well, then hell, then I guess that throws my. I thought
baby shower was in 2019.
Then I'm wrong.
And Monique even said in her live, because she couldn't go to the baby shower because she had just had her baby. Okay. And I don't know what Ashley was doing on camera. They weren't there. But Andy's baby shower was last year, I think some part of the summer when he had his baby shower. And then after that baby shower, that's when the Candace, Giselle, and Robin went out and had dinner. Then that's when after that Candace ends up, because that's when she did her, she talked about calling Karen and telling Karen about what they were talking about. They weren't even filming yet, because even Monique said, I knew about this before we even started filming, because Karen.
That makes sense because
then I'm wrong. Then I'm wrong. I said I'm wrong, y'all.
No. I'm not arguing with you. But what I'm saying
I'm chat. I said I'm wrong.
Oh, because it wouldn't make sense for them to be talking about wanting to get Monique on or off the show if the season was already filmed. But neither here nor there. Because I got to get off in a second, y'all. I got to go to work. But my point is this: with Monique, and I said this in my review, if you had that kind of issue with Sharice, and you knew Sharice was gonna be there, and Sharice got in front of you, girl, you would like to talk, and Sharice was here to talk about it. Well, girl, you want to talk about it, and we all here, girl, let's talk about it. And let me tell you, girl.
One, Sharice ain't even on the damn show, so why would I sit here and entertain you? I know your whole purpose for being here is to give.
But wait a minute. If you know that you got that big of a problem with Sharice and y'all ain't gonna have no other opportunity to talk about it, and they ain't gonna do nothing but proliferate and perpetuate itself over and over and over, since all parties are here, since the cameras are here, and my biggest problem is that you spread it on social media. Well, let me use the biggest platform I have, which is this show, to let it be known, bitch, you're a liar. Bitch, everything you said is wrong, and let me prove that what you said, since we're in the business of having receipts and having proof and having traffic keepers, Let me gather this girl here
She
now.
should have been gathering Candace up front. She should have been talking to Candace since she is on the show and question Candace because she said Candace, betrayed her. Okay, then she should have had a conversation right after that party and been like, girl, why are you friends with Sharice? Do you know Sharice been out here saying blah, 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 blah about me and my marriage and this baby and all that? She should have started with Candace and at least had a conversation with Candace. It wouldn't, because I believe if she did that, we wouldn't have got to the wine tasting at the barn where she got so, at this point, it was displaced anger because now she's so pissed off. Multiple things, Chris, Gigi, Giselle, all of that was going on. So then she, acted a fool, and it is what it is.
Candace ended up being,
Yeah.
you know, Candace ended up being like Oliver is for Kendra on Chasing Atlanta. Oliver is just the agent by which Kendra can exact all of her anger and her issues. Oliver is the embodiment of that, where she can just drag him and always want to drag him. And I feel like the same way it can. Not that Candace didn't provoke, not that Candace didn't deserve it, but it wasn't just Candace that made Monique drag. Monique said, "Oh yeah, all of this. Oh, I got an opportunity. Let me go ahead and drag her."
Well, I got to get ready to go. I got some stuff I got to do. I enjoyed the nine conversation.
Come on more often. We had such a good conversation today. We gotta have you on more often. Really, we got to have Quintessential on more often. She has a good conversation.
I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
All right, have a good one. Thank you so much. But yeah, that was a good extra to the Silly Saturdays. Really, be you want to make any announcements to the people?
I think Really Be the podcast. We're going to be going live at 6, so I'll be live at 6 with Mink and Face. But other than that, I'm just trying to get some videos out today, so it'll be on the lookout. Some videos will be dropping today. That's the plan. At least that's the plan. My phone keep ringing, so I don't know, but that's the plan.
I gotta go to work, so.
Oh. I got a lot of work to do tomorrow while I'm watching football, so
I got to get my picks out for tomorrow. I made the playoffs. I made the playoff, but I messed up because I had what's his name, Carr. I had a choice between Carr and Bridgewater as my quarterbacks. My stupid self started Carr instead of Bridgewater, thinking that Carr would give me more points. Carr got 2 points.
Yeah, because he got benched or something like in the middle of the game.
Carr got 2 points for me. Girl,
well, you got $10 from me because I won the pool this week, and and the reason why I sent you the $10 is because I think I used all your picks, like all of your. I used I used Tannehill as my quarterback. I used at least 3 other picks. I didn't use everything, obviously, but I used like 3 other picks. So I was like, let me go and say El Teddy this good cash.
Bad girl. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with the whole matchup? I could, still end up hopefully winning, but child. Anyway, let me get off here. Thank you so much for coming on, Really Be, and talking, because I look to you to be my expert on all things housewives.
Oh, the pressure.
I defer to you because I definitely want to know about that contract situation. Because ciao.
All right, well, have a good day at work.
Right. What fun. I'll catch y'all next time, y'all. We'll be back next time. Until next time, love y'all, love on y'all.